Good evening. Health authorities have...
These vehicles may or may not have mechanical...
It will be a trial within a trial.
Louise Neimer at the Ontario...
The city does have a bylaw that...
December 17th, 1982. This is Toronto. A new name for Holly. A tenant victory. And Who Fever. City Pulse with Gord Martineau, Dee Dee Petty, Peter Gross, and the City Pulse News Team brings you Toronto's news.
Good evening. That newborn baby left to die under a truck yesterday is doing just fine tonight. Nurses at Sick Children's Hospital have dubbed her Holly, but for legal records, she has been renamed Dawn Elizabeth Lee by the Children's Aid Society. Crime specialist Mark Daly says tonight that aid workers are joining the police search for Holly's mother.
Our little heroine has been taking advantage of her new comforts in the hospital and sleeping a lot. She's listed in good condition, while 13 division officers work leads tracking down the child's mother.
The hospitals are still notified. They'll let us know if anything happens. The TTC's being notified. Anybody who has any information would like to give us a call, we're more than happy.
The children's aid workers at the West End office are also in the middle of the case. Ron Smith says the mother needs help, and that's their concern, too.
Most parents who harm or injure their kids don't do so intentionally. The person involved here, or persons, obviously are in a pretty desperate predicament. At this point, we don't know what their predicament was.
Even Constable Bob agrees, despite the criminal aspect of the case.
We'd be more than willing to, give her a good chance at explaining what's happened and why, and if she needs some help, the agencies are more than willing to help her as well.
Holly continues doing pretty well in her little incubator here at the Hospital for Sick Children. We're all hoping, of course, that she's in a warm crib with the foster family on Christmas Day. The next step for the Children's Aid Society is to go to Child Welfare Court next week to get official custody and then place the baby in a home. Mark Daly at Sick Children's Hospital, City Pulse.
Remember, if you have any information to help police track down the baby's mother, please call 13 Division right now. That number is 967-2341. Former Argo defensive lineman Norman Goodman is guilty of rape tonight after threatening a 21-year-old woman at knife point to have sex. But the jury found him not guilty of a charge of indecent assault and failed to reach a verdict on 4 other charges. He'll be sentenced for the rape charge December 23rd. Police say they still don't know who bombed the Lytton plant at Rexdale 2 months ago, but their search has taken them into the homes and offices of members of the Cruise Missile Conversion Project, a peace group based here in Toronto. Now, project members are denouncing the raids, telling our Ann Murowskowski they're being harassed and intimidated.
Police have executed 5 search warrants in the past 2 weeks, seizing papers and documents from 3 Peace Group offices in Toronto and Peterborough, and 2 from the homes of Peace Movement members.
They have to have some kind of basis for searches and these allegations, which they have not provided and which they don't have.
The group says that after 2 months of investigation, police still have no hard evidence to link the bombing of Lytton Systems to the Peace Movement.
It's complete nonsense to think that the police believe that we are in any way associated with the bombing. They are using this in order to try and intimidate us, in order to try and scare other people from joining this movement.
The editor of the Catholic New Times, an award-winning national newspaper, says the Peace Movement has the support of all mainline churches in Canada.
That our editorial policy over the last 3 years has been clear, consistent, and unequivocal. We are against the production of any parts of the cruise missile in Canada and against the testing of the cruise missile in this country.
It's now apparent the police are under some pressure to make an arrest in the Lytton bombing before the year is over. If not, today's allegations of police harassment may be more than just angry talk. I'm Em Roskowski for City Pulse.
Our Stephen Lewis says he can't believe the Toronto peaceniks would ever resort to bombing the Lytton plant to make their point. Here he is now with tonight's editorial comment.
The police, have always had a phobia about left-wing protest groups. They assume that there are subversives under every duplicating machine. They've always failed to distinguish between the extremists who are capable of destructive violence and the very legitimate groups of dissent who criticize the government for a given policy or who criticize Lytton Industries for their policy. And the fact of the matter is the police have always been that way. The Various royal commissions into the RCMP show a similar pattern. Remember the RCMP harassing the Praxis group and even infiltrating and investigating the WAFL. The WAFL, for heaven's sake, were a bunch of amiable neurotics, far more dangerous to the NDP than to society as a whole. In this case, I really doubt whether any of these searches and seizures of the peace movement will turn up anything at all. It's probably a fishing expedition because the police are really at a dead end. I may be wrong, but to find anything tangible is truly unlikely. Why? Because the peace movement as such has a long and honorable history. And the police simply don't understand how tens of thousands of people all over the world can turn their whole lives over to pro-disarmament causes, can spend their lives marching and protesting and picketing and parading and dissenting and do it because they believe in a cause. You're not likely to find a psychotic bomber among such folk. You're more likely to find it among some extremist splinter group, or maybe an infiltrator from the CIA. Anyway, time will tell. But the fact of the matter is that we're learning a lot in the process about the continued mentality of the police.
City building inspectors meet early in the new year to decide the fate of a building at Parliament and Wellesley. They've already declared it unsafe, and tonight, Jeff Ansell tells us what the tenants are doing to get repairs done by their landlord.
21 Rose Avenue is a rooming house with 18 separate units. The occupants of 15 of the rooms are refusing to pay their rent.
Facilities that are here in this building aren't quite safe. Like there's wires hanging all over and it's dirty. We try and keep it clean, but it doesn't work. The fuses go out a lot, and whenever we try and put them back in, like everybody pitches in for the lights.
Inspectors from the fire department visited 21 Rose yesterday. There wasn't much to be impressed with. Where's the bell?
It's supposed to be there, but it's not ringing. There's no power pack.
This one doesn't work either.
None of them work. This is what I've been telling you.
The electrical panel in the boiler room is barely hanging on the wall.
I put a nail in here to hold it in place, so it'll be up on the wall, and it should be stationary.
This is the laundry room. Here's what the storage room looks like. The pile of mattresses in the backyard doesn't make the property any safer either. Murray Tripp has lived here 7 years, but it's hard to call this place home.
You don't really feel like it at all, you know. Living it, you're scared all the time. That's why I spend the biggest share of the time out of the place, and my daughter's place are at work.
Murray's daughter won't even visit because the building is so dirty. But holding back on the rent isn't a solution because the landlord, Quantock Investments, could move to have these people evicted.
I know that. But the way things are in this place, when the landlord comes, you pay your rent. The washroom on the floor that I live on is filthy. The breakers are out. Lights in the halls are not cleaned, and it's not too much.
Quantock Investments has an office nearby. No one was there when we stopped by, and their phone's been disconnected. In fact, the only time these people see their landlord is every 2 weeks when the rent's due. The folks who live here and are now refusing to pay their rent can't take legal action themselves, as you can do if you live in a building you consider to be substandard. Best advice is to contact a lawyer or a local tenants federation so they can draw up the proper court papers, and then file an application under Section 96 of the Landlord and Tenants Act, asking that the place be cleaned up. Filing an application costs $17, and you can do it at the clerk's office at the courthouse at 361 University. I'm Jeff Ansell for City Pulse.
Deanie Petty has met the residents, the tenants of a building at 2770 Jane Street, who camped out to stop their landlord from filling in their swimming pool. They took him to court, and today they won. And because Deanie Petty wasn't working today, I went out to help them celebrate.
Okay, go for it.
Where'd the court go?
Well, Candace, you got your swimming pool back. How do you feel?
Exuberant.
When the decision was rendered, do you feel it sets a precedent for other tenants and landlord situations elsewhere in the city?
Yes, I do. How many people being told that their pool is going to be closed down would actually say, okay, let's do something about this. Let's fight this man because these are our rights. We have shown we can fight and we can win.
The landlord's been ordered to get the pool in operation by June. Our Mark Daly is manning the scanners tonight in the fifth floor newsroom. Let's go to him live. Mark?
Gordon, it's been a pretty quiet rush hour, but it's been a bit of a strange day, although it was nice and bright and crisp out there. We have a problem this time of year that I call black ice. Any kind of water that gets on the road freezes. There were some spots around the downtown area and a lot of people skidding into each other. It's a real hassle getting into an accident, the paperwork alone and the headaches, and this close to Christmas, we don't need that. So especially driving around tonight, be careful of those icy spots. They could be anywhere, parking lots, your own driveway, or along any streets, even the major roadways. The weather is apparently going to stay quite crisp, and here's our crispy weatherman out on Queen Street Live, Brian Hill.
Well, Mark, no doubt you're going to be probably heading up to ski country on Monday to investigate all the mass suicides of the ski resort operators hanging themselves from their T-bars because of the rain that will come this weekend and wash away their snow. I'll be back later with the City Weather Watch with some good news to go along with that bad news, mind you. Gordon.
Thank you, Brian. The empty York West Meals on Wheels Christmas packs we showed you last week are now full, thanks to your generosity. And this afternoon, the packs were delivered, with news cameraman Tony Wanamaker capturing the joy of Christmas on video.
They were going to do this morning. There you are. That way. She always gets your meal. Now the next guy, he doesn't get it. Okay. They're taking pictures, so don't get upset. And I'm opening the parcel. And here's a Christmas present for you from the Meals on Wheels. Oh, that'll come in handy because I can't get out to shop. I haven't gotten the use of my legs right yet. Television tonight, you see? If I'm on television. This is Merry Christmas from Meals on Wheels. Oh, thank you very much. That's lovely. I never expected to win a prize the other night. I know I never expected Wheels on Meals to remember me. Oh, you didn't, eh? No. What is it, grapes? Rose, look at the man.
And the students at Centennial College certainly know the meaning of Christmas. Today they sent us this check to the Chum City Christmas Wish for $700. The Centennial College Students Association raised the money in just one day. With a series of special events, we'll make sure it's used to give a lot of kids a very Merry Christmas. And Blue, the trusty St. Bernard, was feeling the Christmas spirit this afternoon. Blue hauled a Christmas tree donated by the Boy Scouts from Queen's Park to the Hospital for Sick Children. In his mouth, Blue carried a bag with $2,000 in it, a Christmas present for the hospital's building fund. Many, many thanks to Blue's best friend, Lori Noble. If you plan to stop at the pet store to pick up a puppy as a Christmas gift this year, our Carolyn Joe has a word of advice. Surprising somebody with a new pet is rarely a good idea.
If you take a new animal into that environment, he's just going to flip. It's just too much. It's hard enough on them to go into a new home because they don't understand anything about where they are. And at the same time, to add in all the extra excitement, and if there's kids, there's lots of screaming and yelling and having fun. But it's frightening to the animal, and there couldn't be a worse day.
If you do decide to give a pet for Christmas, make sure the recipient wants one in the first place. Cats can be picked up at the Society for $15 and dogs for $24, but many of these animals wind up back at the Society when the novelty is worn off months after Christmas.
We do try and find homes for them if that's possible, and if not, then they're put to sleep.
Last year, the Society put to sleep 1,700 dogs and 5,000 cats.
Be very quiet and peaceful around them. They're going to be very frightened about being in a new environment, and the more quiet and calm you are, the easier they adapt to it. Let them come to you and be very reassuring when they do, and at the same time, particularly with children, discourage them from running over and picking up and squeezing the animal.
If you still think it would be nice to give a pet for Christmas, take a tip from the Humane Society. Introduce the animal to the family after Christmas on a quiet day. That way the animal will have a chance to fit into the family, and the owner will have the chance to adjust to his new responsibilities. Carolyn Joe, City Pulse.
20 television stations across Canada tonight link up with City TV via satellite for our live broadcast of The Who's final concert of their last North American tour. J.D. Roberts is live now at Maple Leaf Gardens with the City Pulse Live Eye. J.D.?
Thank you very much, Gord. I don't believe it. I was hoping for a miracle, but it didn't happen. It's just as cold here on Carleton Street tonight as it was last night. Just a little bit more than 3 hours away from history in the making as City Television and stations across Canada via our satellite link-ups bring you the Who concert. The final concert? Yeah, probably. Well, anyways, it's the last concert on this tour of North America. Be with us at 9:30 this evening. Also join us again on entertainment later on City Pulse. We'll tell you more about the concert and other things in entertainment. Gord?
Thank you, J.D. City Pulse at 6 continues in a moment.
Ever since I was a young boy, I played the silver ball. From Soho down to Brighton, I must have played them all. But I ain't seen nothing like him in any...
The Bulgarian government has denied having any involvement in the assassination attempt against Pope John Paul. And for the first time, government officials held a news conference to deny allegations from Rome.
It was an unusual event for communist Bulgaria, a news conference with Western press. The Bulgarian government, angered over the accusations that it orchestrated the attempt on the life of the Pope, wanted to tell its story. A government spokesman called the charges an act of hostility, an attempt to discredit Bulgaria. Seated in the room were the two Bulgarians wanted by the Italian authorities, Giulio Kolev, secretary to the military attaché, and Theodoro Azov, a financial manager. Both men, former embassy workers in Rome, denied any involvement in the crime. But Italian investigators have a lot of evidence to suggest the opposite. At times, Italian journalists were shouting, demanding answers, but the Bulgarians would not deal in specifics. They did announce that the government is conducting its own investigation under the direction of the chief prosecutor. The Italian authorities have identified 3 Bulgarians and 5 Turks as being part of the plot. One Turkish suspect, Bekir Chelnik, is now in Bulgaria under protective custody. He is wanted in Turkey for arms and drug smuggling, and in Italy for complicity in the attack on the Pope. The Bulgarian authorities will keep him here, and they said they will conduct their own investigation. Then he may be released. Certainly the news conference was called to vindicate the Bulgarians, at least in the eyes of the world's press and the international diplomatic community. But instead of clearing up all of the mystery still remains, and the Bulgarians are still at the center of it. Keith Miller, NBC News, Sofia, Bulgaria.
Martial law authorities in Poland are keeping an eye on Lech Wałęsa tonight. The Solidarity leader was detained for 9 hours yesterday, preventing him from making a speech at the Gdansk Memorial. This morning, Wałęsa talked to reporters about his detainment yesterday, and here's John Cochran.
Lech Wałęsa's apartment building, seen here yesterday, is under tight police guard today. Police returned Wałęsa to his apartment last night after detaining him for 9 hours. This morning, Wałęsa told reporters he feels his movements are restricted. When asked whether he can go outside, he said, "It depends on where I go." Wałęsa said that when police came for him yesterday, they were armed and ready to use force. But Wałęsa said he did not resist. Wałęsa's wife, Danuta, took some hazy pictures yesterday as her husband was being taken away in a black Mercedes. Then Wałęsa was driven around Gdansk so that he could not speak at a memorial service for shipyard workers killed in anti-government demonstrations. Last night, Polish TV gave very careful coverage of the service at the memorial outside the shipyard gates. No mention was made of Wałęsa's detention. Nor did Polish TV show these pictures of police retreating before a crowd of workers determined to go to the memorial. Polish TV said most shipyard workers and townspeople in Gdansk ignored the service. Polish TV did not report that police had sealed off the area so townspeople could not be present. John Cochran, NBC News, Warsaw.
As we told you earlier here on City Pulse, Holly, the newborn abandoned by her mother yesterday, is making good progress in hospital tonight. In the meantime, in Boston, there is another baby well on her way to a normal life after a successful liver transplant.
1-year-old Jamie Fisk arrived at Boston's Logan Airport last night to the cheers of relatives and reporters.
We're just glad to be home in Boston. It's been 3 months, and when we brought Jamie out, she was dying. Probably the best reason and the thing that can make us most excited is our daughter Jamie, and here she is.
But the real homecoming came when Jamie was carried into her own house for the first time since July 6th, when she was hospitalized for her liver condition. But now, the Fisks say they are looking forward to a normal life for their daughter.
Does she have a lot of catching up to do?
Developmentally, yes. But I think as far as everything else, she seems to be medically sound, and that's what we're real happy about.
Her appetite has picked up markedly, so.
Two-year-old brother Darren celebrated the homecoming with a new whistle, while his aunts helped to feed his little sister.
We just always wanted the best for her, and we wanted her home, and this is what we have.
Are you going to tell stories?
Nancy Fernandez, NBC News, Bridgewater, Massachusetts.
Beauty counseling for Peter Silverman is next when City Pulse at 6 continues in a moment.
Tommy, can you hear me? Can you feel me near you? Tommy, can you see me?
Our business specialist, Peter Silverman's been looking spiffy lately. He's found a wildly successful all-Canadian company called Beauty Counselors.
These are blushes that can be used under your foundation or under your powder.
Arlene Silman isn't a salesperson. She's an independent beauty counselor. Her technique, a subtle combination of advice and suggestion within the relaxed surroundings of a private home.
You're getting a personal care. You're feeling good about using the right types of things on your face. It's fun. It's fun. It's like friends, and friends are helping you, and you learn the right ways of doing things.
This is a new product that's being tested for men.
There are 10,000 Arlene selling beauty counsel products from the Arctic to Newfoundland. They get a 35% commission and work the hours they want. They are the front line in a bitterly competitive beauty products market. Here at the company, Scarborough Plant Beauty Products and Cosmetics are turned out to meet sales that increased 68% over 1981 for a retail value of more than $7 million. That's not bad for a company with a tortured history of being sold, resold, and finally sold again to become once more Canadian in 1981. Still, the company's rapid comeback only started here with some of the people who do the hard work of selling. 15 women, including 6 recently appointed vice presidents, are members of the Beauty Council. To all intents and purposes, at meetings like this, they direct the company. 8 members are rotated every 2 months. 7 are permanent. That's Margot Shepard, a district manager, one of 80. Her team sold $300,000 worth of beauty products last year, $22,000 in 1 month this year. She's ambitious, hardworking, a self-taught, exuberant salesperson, and she believes.
And I really do think contests are either won or lost in that first week.
Listening to her, I was ready to go out and start selling. I was even more willing when I learned that she had grossed $150,000 in bonus gifts and commissions over the past 4 years.
There are opportunities. I started as a counselor, to a manager, and now a distributor.
Where do you want to go?
I guess I'd like to try one of the vice president's jobs one day.
The future looks good. The company has just gone public with a share offering, and even in a recession, the beauty market keeps looking glamorous.
You know, even if you can't afford a new dress for the Christmas season, which a lot of gals are saying, I just can't afford to do this, or the holiday season, they can still look good because that face is going to be there for an awfully long time.
By the way, they have men as counselors, too. I'm Peter Silverman for City Pulse.
Sure looks pretty, doesn't he? Next on City Pulse at 6, Brian Hill with news of a warm weekend and gearing up for the Who farewell live from Maple Leaf Gardens.
Now, our City Pulse news test. What is the name of the Toronto-based peace group raided this week by the police? If you know the answer, call us at 870-9112. The 7th correct caller wins a Great Toronto $50,000 Diamond Hunt calendar.
City Pulse weather is next, and Brian Hill says it's going to be a kind of half-and-half weekend. Brian?
Gord, when the Who were flying up to Toronto, they ran into a massive storm that forced their plane down near Buffalo, and you can see that storm now going out over the Atlantic, and it's curving down into Florida, and that meant the second day in a row that the folks who were vacationing down in Florida at this time of year, trying to get away from the bad weather up here, found themselves in some bad weather down there. We are still under the influence of this cold air pressing down from the Arctic And the wind chill is going to be a factor on Saturday, but it's going to be bright. You can see that there is some clearing through the prairies and down through the midwestern section of the United States. That's going to float over top of us. For tomorrow, should be a nice Saturday, but very, very cold once again. Then on Sunday, up comes warmer air. And along with that warmer air comes a storm you can see here over the Rockies right now. And that's going to spread some freezing rain at first and then some rain afterwards. And you can see this warm air move up into southern Ontario and some of our maps of Ontario later on. There is a moon there, just a sliver of a new moon. So as we get closer and closer to a new year, we have a new moon to go along with it, I guess you could say. Let's use Teleton and video text to map out what tomorrow should look like. This is how it should appear to you tomorrow in Toronto. Cloudy with some sun from time to time, a high +1. That's actually technically a little above what it should be like at this time of year as we dance around the freezing mark usually. Then on Sunday, warmer air and rain comes into Toronto. Colder air will return for Monday. We'll have some snow flurry activity and a high of +2. And then come Tuesday, some sun, some snow flurry activity, and the temperatures back down to the seasonal normal of about 0. And then Wednesday on our 5-day forecast here, you can see a nice mix of cloud, sun, high +1. That's the long-range look ahead, the longest long-range look ahead in Toronto television, our 5-day forecast. Let's check out our province right now being mapped out by the computer. You can see that by Saturday, things are going to be quite bright on Saturday, but by Saturday there's something coming up from the south. Let's go ahead in time and watch this system sweep across our area. You're going to see by Sunday morning that there is some rain, not reaching Toronto yet, but on the way because of a warm front pulling up into our area. Let's go a little bit further in time. You can see by Sunday afternoon, sure enough, we're in the precip, and there's that warm front has already passed us. But soon afterwards is another blast of cold air ready to shock Toronto back into winter once again. Up north in Muskoka, nice day on Saturday, but come Sunday, the ski resort operators are going to be under rain, not snow, but rain and warmer air. Just the thing they don't want to hear at this time of year, because that is going to wash away all that snow that they've been making so carefully up there on their slopes with their artificial snow-making equipment. There's our current live weather shot on Queen Street tonight. Our present temperature, -7 or 19 Fahrenheit. Now, take into consideration the winds are blowing up from the south already, and that is the beginning of the warming trend of warm southerly air. They're coming in at 9 kilometers per hour. Now, you add the temperature to the fact that the wind's coming in at 9, and the poor folks who had to go out to the gardens tonight to the Who concert are having to put up with a wind chill factor of what it feels like out in the streets of Toronto of -15 Celsius, or a mere 5 Fahrenheit tonight. The pressure, 102.8, and the barometric pressure's on the way down. Now, tonight in Toronto, it's going to be very cold because, in part, very few clouds to hold the heat in. So the heat just radiates out into space, and we're left with an overnight low -10 degrees. Wow. Another cold one in town. But tomorrow morning, we'll see the sun come out. That's going to feel awfully nice. Still cold, but 8 o'clock in the morning, about -6 degrees. And it's going to be kind of windy, too. So if you're buying a Christmas tree this weekend or doing your Christmas shopping, Saturday would be the day to do it, because Sunday, Gord, looks like it's going to be a wet one, although it's going to be warm. That's the exclusive City Weather Watch.
Brian, you have to feel badly for the ski resort operators. They've taken a bath the last couple of years, and things do not look good for this year.
You know, they're building for the Christmas break. They know if they can just get the snow built up to the point that people can be attracted up there during the Christmas break, that could make or break them, and this is particularly tough for them to see this rain coming.
Well, they do something in the order of 65% of their season's business during Christmas week, and boy, we got to keep our fingers crossed.
That's right. Let's keep it crossed that they'll have some more cold weather and enough time to make some snow for the Christmas holidays.
Thank you, Brian. Okay. Friday night is provincial lottery night. You could be $500,000 richer if you have this number. It is 1660852. That number again for $500,000. 1660852. Good luck to you. Pre-show excitement is building for tonight's farewell concert by The Who. Our J.D. Roberts is standing by live at Maple Leaf Gardens right now with the City Pulse Live Eye. J.D.?
Thanks very much, Gord. Excitement certainly is building here on Carleton Street in front of Maple Leaf Gardens for this, the final concert on the current North American tour for The Who. As to whether or not they're ever going to be back, I'll tell you, after all the setup and stuff that we're going through to make this the final concert, they ever come back into Canada, they're in a lot of trouble. Anyways, what's going to happen as far as you seeing The Who on city television and people across Canada seeing it via satellite on our new music setup that we have, is that at 9:30 this evening on city television and on Chum FM, we start with kind of a pregame show, some backstage interviews and a look at what's been going on the Who tour for the last month. Then at 10 o'clock, we go to the concert inside live at Maple Leaf Gardens. That will run for 2.5 hours. After that, we will have a post-game wrap-up, very much like you see at a hockey game. It all promises to be a very exciting evening and a history-making event. Now, should you not want to stay home and watch the broadcast, there are a lot of places around town that are carrying it, place you can go party, and they are the Nags Head North on Woodbine. If you want to go to a video arcade and also see the show, you can go to Video Invasion at 3500 Bathurst Street, also the Queensbury Arms, the Cabaret up in Concord if you live up north. The Jarvis House will be carrying it, and places that will be carrying the pictures as far as I know, but possibly not the audio, are the El Macombo downstairs and the North Gate at the ports. But possibly if you make enough noise, you can get them to carry the audio as well. The Chum Christmas Party, which is going on tonight, has a big Advent screen. They'll be showing the Who simulcast. And Birchmount Park Secondary School out in Scarborough has had a dance planned, a Christmas dance planned since June or July. And last week they kind of said, hang on, if the Who simulcast is on tonight, nobody's going to come to the dance. So what they've done to ensure that people do come to the dance is that they've ringed the entire inside of the auditorium with television sets, and they'll be carrying it as well. It's estimated that 5 million people are going to be glued to their television sets for the Who simulcast. But tomorrow evening, you'll probably be looking for something to do, and Jeannie Becker and I have some suggestions.
It's that time of year again when the film companies release a veritable onslaught of new movies. And there's two reasons for it. One is to cash in on the traditional Christmas movie-going habits of the public, and the other is to qualify for the Academy Awards this coming spring. And like years past, the 1982 Christmas movies have ones that will probably go to the Oscars and ones that won't. On the won't side of the scorecard is The Dark Crystal, an epic puppet fantasy from Muppet Man Jim Henson. The concept is quite interesting, a Lord of the Rings or Star Wars-esque confrontation of survival between the frail Gelflings and dreaded Skeesis, but critics have complained that the story is too directionless to hold an audience much over the age of 6.
This is no Gelfling! Of course I'm no Gelfling, you putrid lizards! I'll get my eyes for you!
Don't be afraid. Stanie. Dobar. Let's go. Oh, bar. They'll take us.
But Kira, you
The Dark Crystal's redeeming factor is that it has been put together by puppeteers extraordinaire Jim Henson and Frank Oz, which gives it a color and life which almost makes these critters from another world believable. In question for an Oscar possibility is Honky Tonk Man, a film produced, directed by, and starring Clint Eastwood and his 14-year-old son, Kyle Eastwood. In The Honky Tonk Man, Eastwoods are father and son again. The elder, an ailing country singer, struggling through the Depression.
What the hell did I have to offer a kid? Just honky tonks and flop houses. That's the life of a country singer. Ross, sound good to you?
Don't sound too hot when you put it like that, but sure beats picking cotton and living in a sharecropper shack.
Honky Tonk Man's refreshing after so many Every Which Ways and Firefoxes, but some people may have a hard time seeing the one-time spaghetti western star as a country singer. Definitely on the will side of our Oscar scorecard is Tootsie, the movie that casts Dustin Hoffman in the unlikely role of a woman. As Michael Dorsey, a frustrated New York actor, Hoffman gets the bizarre idea of becoming Dorothy Michaels and winds up as one of the biggest stars in soap opera history. Critics have said it's the best comedy of the year, and that Hoffman is one hell of a woman. These role switches could lead to an interesting Academy Awards next year. As Johnny Carson said last night, it could be the only year that a man wins Best Actress and a woman wins for Best Actor.
A likely choice for this year's Best Actor Oscar is 57-year-old Paul Newman, who some believe gives one of the best performances of his career in The Verdict, a story of a Boston attorney who finds redemption in taking on a controversial case that no one is supposed to win. Two-time Oscar nominee Jack Warden also stars in the film.
Case is over. You know, you broke the first rule I ever taught you in law school. You never ask a question unless you have the answer to it. Even your own expert witness said there was no negligence. It's over, period. There'll be other cases.
There are no other cases. This is the case.
And guess who's back working on yet another zany case? The late Peter Sellers as Inspector Clouseau is brought back to the screen for a new Blake Edwards film, Trail of the Pink Panther. The movie incorporates classic footage from Clouseau's previous capers, as well as some sequences which were never seen before.
That is absolutely the ugliest nose I have ever seen in my life. It is so revolting. It is a masterpiece. It is also Martha's own nose. My compliments, madam. It suits you.
Undoubtedly one of the most touching films to light up silver screens this Christmas will be 6 Weeks, starring Mary Tyler Moore and Dudley Moore as two lovers brought together by a young dancer who has just 6 weeks to live.
We pledge eternal love.
And agree to be married.
And agree to be married.
For now.
For now.
Because there is no always.
Because there is no always.
Just a little bit of pixie dust.
For the kids and all others who refuse to grow up, it's the re-release of Walt Disney's 1953 version of Peter Pan. The animated feature has become quite a classic over the years. It's guaranteed to awaken the magic in the most cynical of souls.
Jim and me. Oh, my. We can fly.
You can fly.
We can fly.
All the movies we've just told you about opened in town today, but if you're a rock fan, you'll probably want to wait till at least tomorrow to go see any of them. Back to J.D. live at the Gardens to remind you why.
It is the Who simulcast, starting at 9:30 right here on City Television, live from Maple Leaf Gardens. And while we're on the street, I got to say thanks to Metro PC Sadler for supplying me with these nice warm gloves. A few celebrities expected in the crowd tonight, among them Vitas Gerulaitis, the tennis player, also John McEnroe, a couple of guys from April Wine, and the Booze Brothers. Now, these guys are celebrities. Tomorrow night, 10 o'clock on City Television, another rock and roll show featuring the Booze Brothers. These guys are really hot these days. How's it going, guys?
Oh, not too bad, J.D. What's going on here tonight? Like, what are all these people here for?
Concert.
Who's playing?
Right, that's right.
That's right. Never heard of them.
Who?
That's right.
Now, just a second. This isn't making any sense at all.
You're the one who's not making any sense.
I'm making all kinds of sense. Listen, let's take it from the top. You start this time.
Okay, there's a band playing here tonight, right?
Right.
Who is the band?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I give up.
What do you mean you give up? I said yes.
They've broken up long ago. Let's go.
Back to you.
That's it, I guess, huh? Hysterical. Stand by for Jim Taddy. City Pulse Sports coming up next.
I'm free.
We're up.
I'm free.
Leading off with high school hockey.
Well, we're just trying to get into the spirit of things. Fact of the matter is, folks, 'tis the season to be jolly.
Ho, ho, ho.
You've been into the spirit, and 'tis the season for bargain hunting. One of the best sports bargains of the year is taking place at De La Salle Arena this weekend. It's the annual Brother Arthur Hockey Tourney. It started at 3 this afternoon, and this is the opening game. De La Salle Oaklands against the Lord Elgin Lancers. Look how far this shot is. It's a goal by Mike Ferrier. De La Salle broke a 2-2 tie with that goal. And watch the move here by Luigi Faccini. Almost a goal, not quite. Lord Elgin goalie Leo Felicetti was outstanding. A couple of good saves here. And De La Salle could not cash in there. Del got the insurance marker on this excellent play by John Mazzoli. 4-2. De La Salle over Lord Elgin this afternoon. And the York Memo Mustangs hosted the Melbourne Black Knights in Game 2. Pat Howlett pops in a rebound here. Melbourne up 1-0. York Memo ties it on this excellent individual effort by Nick Amoruso. Right in and scores there. Melbourne grabbed the lead in this goal by Dave Collins. And Pat Howlett scored his second of the game. Melbourne had a 3-1 lead, and they won it by a score of 3-2. Now, all sorts of rumor mill material about the Leafs adding 2 more Czechoslovakian players to their lineup, but so far nothing official. The Leafs hope to end their winless streak tomorrow night against Chicago. Several streaks continued last night. For example, this one at the Philadelphia Spectrum. This is right off the opening face-off. Look at that. Gare over to Foster, right in on goal, shoots and scores 9 seconds into the game. The Red Wings up 1-0, but that was the end of it for them. Still in the first period, Bobby Clark, look for him in the crease. When he gets this goal, it's career point number 1,100. Second period action, Paul Holmgren scores here. 2-1 Flyers. The Wings are 2 men short on this very next play, and look what goalie Greg Steffen does. He goes for a skate. This is unbelievable. The puck finally goes to Clark, who feeds Sittler for his 20th of the year. The Red Wing actually helped him out, and look at Steffen. What a poor sport there. The Flyers were well on their way. 4 more goals for the Flyers. In fact, they won this game 7-2. Detroit has not won in the Spectrum since November of 1971. First period action at the Boston Garden last night, where the Sabres have not won in 3 years. And Keith Crowder, after receiving this pass, will make it 2-0. Well, he shot it himself. What the heck? And it's 2-0. Shorthanded goal here by O'Reilly. That Crowder's pretty fast, isn't he? He can pass and shoot all in one motion. Look at O'Reilly. 3-0 there, still in the first period. This is in the second period. Craig McTavish gets a gift goal. Jacques Cloutier has all kinds of trouble with it. And it's 4-0. Look at that. Drops right into the net. And the Sabres were well on their way. They won this game by a score of 8-1. And the ladies were busy on the international ski slopes this afternoon. We're talking about another one of those special slalom races. Switzerland's Erika Hess won this special slalom race in Italy. She edged out Perrine Pellin of France by 4/100ths of a second. No Canadians in this one. Today's winner, Erika Hess, leads the overall standings. Our best, Laurie Graham, 14th overall. The guys at their practice runs today, Ken Reed, the best time, Steve Podborski, the 4th best time, and Todd Brooker, the 5th best time. So things are looking optimistic for them.
We can't have our hopes too high for the Leafs tomorrow night against the Hawks. I mean, they're #1 overall.
They are the best team, and they are a classic case in how to build a hockey team. They've stuck with a lot of players.
Keep our fingers crossed anyway. The Street Beat report next when City Pulse at 6 continues.
City Pulse News Test answer. The Toronto-based peace group raided this week by the police is called the Cruise Missile Conversion Project. Tonight's lucky winner takes home a Great Toronto $50,000 diamond hunt calendar.
The Street Beat report is next. Let's go live to the 5th floor newsroom and the guy with his almost completed mustache, Mark Daly.
Well, it's a pretty quiet night. The rush hour has been fairly uneventful, although about 10-15 minutes ago there was a personal injury accident. 2 people hurt in an accident on the southbound Allen Expressway, and that was just north of the 401. Police just on the scene a few minutes ago. Toronto firefighters are on the scene at 368 Dundas Street East. Apparently a little fire in a chimney there, and I hear something in my other ear here about some kind of robbery at a Food City store out in the east end of the city. They're looking for a few men. And finally, robbery number 195 on Toronto financial institutions today. 1 man took money from the National Trust office at Yonge and Steeles. And that's Street Beat for tonight. Stay warm, buckle up, and all that stuff.
Thank you, Mark. A final look at what's happening around town tonight. Let's go to J.D. Roberts.
The Who perform the final concert of their North American tour tonight at Maple Leaf Gardens. The show starts at 10. Harlequin stages a benefit for the Chum City Christmas Wish at the Concert Hall on Sunday. The Downchild Blues Band is upstairs at the El Macombo. Sheriff is at the Nags Head North tonight. Between sets, they'll carry the Who simulcast on big screen TV. Tomorrow night at the Nags Head, it's Darby Mills and Headpins. Grant Smith and the Powerhead special guest George Oliver along at the Club Blue Note 82. Ronnie Hawkins finishes out at the Imperial Room tonight and tomorrow. Coco Taylor, Queen of the Chicago Blues, is at Albert's Hall at the Brunswick House. The Bald's Wall is at Tony's Rock and Roll East out in Scarborough. And Dean Regan is at the new Blue Angel. Movies around town, on the Odeon side of things, 6 Weeks, starring the 2 Moors, Dudley and Mary Tyler, opens. Dustin Hoffman turns in a terrific performance as a female soap opera star in Tootsie. And Jim Henson of Muppet fame gives us The Mystery of the Dark Crystal. At Famous Players Theaters, The Verdict, starring Paul Newman, opens. Burt Reynolds and Goldie Hawn star in Norman Jewison's Best Friends. Clint Eastwood is an all-American country singer in Honky Tonk Man. Peter Sellers makes his final appearance in The Trail of the Pink Panther. And Walt Disney re-releases the animated classic Peter Pan. On Great Movies tonight on City, at 7:30, it's the conclusion of Rich Man, Poor Man, Book 2. And our pick for tonight's entertainment, starting at 9:30, The Who, live on the New Music Network from Maple Leaf Gardens. You can see the final concert in Toronto on City with stereo audio simulcast on Chum FM.
A weekend weather recap now live on Queen Street, Brian Hill.
If you're traveling around this weekend, Saturday is the day to do it. Sunny but very cold. Do bundle up. Sunday comes the freezing rain. Warmer temperatures, but it's going to be kind of uncomfortable. And tune in on Monday. We'll take a special long-range look ahead at the Christmas weekend weather. Jim.
Thanks, Brian. There's some pretty heavy-duty hockey going on at the Oshawa Civic Auditorium tonight. The Generals are 23 games without a loss, and when they play Cornwall tonight, they hope to make it 24.
That is City Pulse for tonight, and because of the live Who broadcast on City TV tonight, we won't be back until Monday. So have yourselves a great weekend, and don't miss the Booze Mothers special tomorrow night here on City TV. Here's a sample as we leave you. Good night.
Okay.